Patronising pundits, the 2 Ps. Predictably patronising, pathetic pundits, the 4 Ps, as we like to call it. We weren't planning on doing this video. Somebody has sent us in an email, unlike the letter, Gio, right? We've had a letter before. We haven't got a letter. It's an email on this occasion, a raven, sent by Carrier Pigeon, asking us to do a video on, what is it, Gio?
Patronising pundits. Well, it's my fault. I said at the start of the week, send in your topics. We'll cover them. It's the winter break, and we've got one from Brian Flowers. Brian, thank you very much for getting in touch. He's left a little bit about himself and some nice words at the end, but I'm going to take the middle bit, which is the topic. He says, my topic or question is this. Why is it so looked down upon by the rest of the footballing world, i.e. pundits, other teams' fans, for West Ham fans to want our club to do better than we are doing now? Over the last year, I've heard talkSPORT hosts say things like punching above your weight and be happy with where Moyes has gotten you. You've won a trophy. What more do you want? These statements drive me effing mad. I'm grateful for what Moyes has done. Trophy Europe. But I do not want to settle for what we have achieved. I want our club to grow, continue competing for Europe, keep attracting players like Kudus Paqueta, eventually challenge for the top 4, get into the Champions League. Why is this so ridiculous for others to comprehend? I feel others pat us on the head and say, enough is enough, Hammer. Go back to fighting the top 10. Don't you dare think you can ever be here and compete for our top 4.
Brian, thanks, buddy. That's it is incredibly patronising. You're right to feel like you've been patted on the head, because you are being patted on the head. I think the biggest thing is to say the pundits probably don't believe it themselves, or at least half the time they don't. And you don't even have to name any of the pundits, because there are so many of them that do it. And I bet you're all thinking of one now. You're all thinking of a pundit, aren't you? I've got Gabby, Agbonlahor and Alan Shearer in my head.
Alan Shearer is the one that's in mind.
Okay. But you'll all have your sort of, I was going to say your favourites, your least favourites. If you were to ask them about football just generally, and you were to say to these people, are you allowed to dream? As a football fan, do you think dreaming is a good thing? Should you want higher ambitions for your club? They would say yes, and as much as that would be really part of their belief system. Could get them on a slightly different topic. Why don't you get them on the European Super League? So if you were to ask them, do you think the European Super League's a good idea with regard to when it wasn't going to have any relegation, it'd be a closed shop and that sort of thing, I'm pretty sure those same pundits, we'll go with Alan Shearer and Gabby Agbonlahor here, would be saying to you, no, this is a bad thing, because what it stops is it stops the dream. It stops the promotion. Why shouldn't they would say these words to you? Why shouldn't any club aspire to do something? Why shouldn't any club be able to build to climb up the pyramids? They would, and I don't know whether what they're saying are basically a load of platitudes they don't really mean, or they do mean it. But either way, it's contradictory, because unfortunately, when it comes to little old West Ham, and it won't be West Ham, we're just, because we're West Ham fans, we're offended by it, right? When it comes to little old West Ham, then actually their whole belief system goes out the window, because that's actually a case of, no, you lot have had enough. No, you've had enough. So that whole thing about dreaming, about aspiring to get to the very top doesn't factor in anymore, because actually you're West Ham and we have deemed it, Mr. Shearer and Mr. Agbonlahor have deemed it, that 6th is enough for you. You've got your trophy, 43 years, pipe down, and can we, anyway, when's the next Super Sunday with Man United and Arsenal one? It'll be that sort of thing. But what I would say, sorry, before Gio, I'm aware I've been talking for the past 4 minutes.
Right. But we've got another 10 minutes or so to discuss it. You crack on.
Okay, thanks, mate. But the one thing that really annoys me, and one thing I don't find factual.
Well, that bit wasn't the bit that annoys you.
I was calm. Now we get to the really annoying bit. It's the stadium. One thing they don't ever factor in is this stadium moved. We were promised a lot. I'm not going to go with the 10-point plan, but we were promised a lot. So the reason being was that little old West Ham mentality we were meant to have left behind. That's why we lost Upton Park, to allow us to dream. So actually, the stuff we're being told now applies to us as we were before. What we are now, we're in a 62,000-seater stadium. The safety certificate is going in now, right now, to turn it into 66,000. That makes it the second biggest capacity at the moment in the Premier League. And I don't think that what they're saying makes any sort of sense at all. And they don't ever factor that in. And do you know why? Because it's not their club. It's not up to them. And actually, they're not the ones that have lost their stadium in the pursuit of greatness. So now we get there, we lose our stadium, and then we get told that we can't pursue greatness. And I'll tell you something, Brian, you should feel patronised because bloody, we should expect more than this because this is what we were told that we would get. Yes, be grateful for it. Sixth is good. But the moment you're in sixth, and you don't start dreaming of fifth or fourth or, incrementally up, then you might as well forget it. Because that's sport. Because without any of that stuff, nothing ever happens. And it doesn't, honestly, Jenson Button doesn't win Formula One, the one world title. James Buster Douglas doesn't knock Mike Tyson out. None of this stuff happens without the ability to dream. And it annoys me clearly as much as it annoys you, Brian.
I can't disagree with anything you've said. All I can do is add to it, and I get what Brian's frustrations are. In regards to Alan Shearer, I'm going to pick on him first. Is he was a massive hypocrite within the space of a handful of days. On Match of the Day, they were discussing Moyes and West Ham, and he basically said, "Look where they are in the league. What's the problem here? What, they don't enjoy the football, so what? Look where you are in the league. It's working." A handful of days later, this was at the weekend, now it's midweek, that's how close proximity it was. I was watching, I think it was on Amazon Prime, so it must have been around Christmas time. I was watching Spurs play someone. They were knocking the ball about. Alan Shearer was the commentator going, "Oh, look how good football they play. This is what everybody wants." Hang on a minute. You've literally just had a pop at West Ham fans for wanting to see something like this a handful of days ago, saying, "No, you can't have that. You've got the results." And there he is purring about Postecoglou because of the way they play, saying that this is what football fans want. I think stop, Alan. Listen to what you just said. Now let's rewind to West Ham and apply what you've just said to West Ham, which is that's what the fans want. They want to see something a bit better. And then I've wrote two things down here. One of them is Aston Villa. When you were talking about you're not allowed to break into this sort of closed shop thing, Aston Villa have. They'll be the first lot to sit there, especially at Agbonlahor, who'd sit there and go, "Look how fantastic Villa are doing. This is brilliant stuff." Yeah, but when we dare to utter a similar ambition for our club, it's like, "Oh, that's unrealistic." Villa are living proof that you can dream. Leicester City were living proof that actually you can dream and hope for something. And just like Fulham fans, Wolves fans might look at West Ham today and go, "Oh, we could do that. We could have 6th, 7th and win a Conference League." And so they should. Just like a Bristol City fan might look at Luton Town going, "Oh, that could be us one day. We could get in there one day. We could actually just get into that Premier League and have a year up there, and we might be able to stay up." You should be allowed to dream. You should be allowed to look at clubs slightly further ahead. You're thinking, can we get there? When Wolves had Nuno and they were playing European football, I was envious. I was like, I want this. I want to be playing European football like Wolves are. I don't see the problem with it. And the pundits that put you down don't watch your football team. Alan Brazil was the other one not too long ago doing the whole... I don't know if you used the word deluded. Someone did not long ago in regards to West Ham fans. He used the word, and I hate that word because it's basically your opinion is nothing. That opinion you've got is worthless. You're deluded. You're off your rocker, and it's devaluing the paying fans' opinion. It's almost like you don't count. You haven't played the game, so you don't count. Actually, you're worthless. Just pay your money on the terraces and go in and watch and shut up, will you? It's almost like my opinion is worth more than yours, and I do not like that whatsoever. I hate it. If there's anything I hate, that's possibly one of the things I hate most. Someone saying my opinion is greater than yours. But they don't watch West Ham. I would almost encourage and invite Alan Brazil, go attend 5-6 West Ham games in a row. You're not allowed to pick them and go to the Emirates and go to Old Trafford and that song. You did all right there. What's the problem? No, go to the next. Go watch us play Sheffield United, then watch us play Bournemouth, then Man United, then Arsenal, then come back and tell us what you really think of the football and if you've enjoyed it. Because when you watch us the Match of the Day, we probably look bloody good. But who doesn't? It's Match of the Day. It's highlights. It's designed to make the team look good. It's designed to be an entertaining show. but actually go watch 90 minutes of it. Instead of watching 3 minutes of it, go watch the other 95 that you haven't seen, and you might turn around and think, actually, this isn't really that enjoyable, is it? They won, but I didn't really enjoy my day out. It wasn't really worth the couple of £100 I've just forked out for. It wasn't worth the hassle of the trains, the tube strikes. It wasn't really worth the nuisance. I've frozen my bollocks off and stood behind a stop sign for the last 20 minutes. It wasn't really worth that. Go experience what the football fans experience, and you might actually think, you know what? West Ham fans might have a point here, actually, that it isn't worth what you get. And this is the whole results versus style argument. This is why I currently would like Moyes to move on at the end of the season. I don't enjoy the football. So when a pundit says, yeah, but you've never had it so good, do you know what? Results-wise, they're correct. I haven't done. I have never had it. This 3 years of European football and bands, this is the best I've ever had at West Ham. But in terms of enjoying my football, it's pretty far away from as good as I've had it, actually. I've enjoyed football more. I've enjoyed football more under David Moyes than I am today. And we've got better players today. I enjoy the football we played with Fornals and Lingard more than I am with Paqueta and Kudus. I don't think that's normal. I don't think that's right, personally. So patronize me all you want, but it's not going to change my mind just because someone says my opinion is greater than yours and you're deluded. Well, if that's deluded, I'm deluded. Simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, their rationale doesn't hold up to scrutiny either. I think when Chelsea just before Chelsea got taken over, I think Hoddle started the ball rolling. I think Hullet then took over. Then possibly it was Vialli. There was a succession. They started off by winning some small trophies before they even got remotely close to winning a Premier League or a Champions League or whatever they went on to do. I think at that point, they probably would have been told a similar thing. So if, again, we'll dig them out because they're sort of two people that springs to mind. If Agbonlahor and Shearer had been around then saying those sort of things, then they never would have done it. It would have been that's enough. That's enough for you. You've done enough. You won your League Cup. You've had your day out at Wembley, Chelsea, and that should be enough for you. And I think the other thing with the delusional thing, Gio, is delusional is only actually one step down from hallucinating, in my point. It's a pretty big bloody insult, actually. You are fooled. You are fooled almost to the point of madness. That's what they're saying. I mean, it's pretty insulting stuff, really. They might not be swearing, but I would, to be fair, I'd rather be called a few choice swear words than someone saying you're mentally you're a bit mistaken there, matey. And I think that there's a hell of a lot of arrogance with it. I don't think it stands up to scrutiny. They get away with it because they say it unchallenged within the confines of their comfy studios as well. They do it, and they're all insulated to a certain point, which is why we just done our Patreon, one of our Patreon videos, and we were just asked a question. If you could ask David Moyes one question, what would it be? Neither your question or my question would ever be uttered to David Moyes because he's ring-fenced, and he just recently in a press conference, he refused to answer questions from a journalist, didn't he? And I'm afraid it's the same with these pundits as well. There's no cross-examination in there. It's all very, very chummy. But what I would say is during these, what they do is they won't ultimately drop the nuclear bomb of the ultimate comment, which is this is not good enough. However, they can highlight it incrementally and individually in matches. So a commentator or a pundit will watch a West Ham match and they'll be saying, oh, West Ham haven't had a shot in this half. They might say, oh, I would expect the manager to change the tactics now. Oh, David Moyes has still not made a substitution. Throughout the course of the match, they will name small individual examples of what goes up to build the greater frustration of David Moyes. And what they'll never do is at the end of it say, oh, okay, well, if they're watching this every game, that must be quite frustrating then. They're quite right to make the point that David Moyes has done really well for West Ham because he has. We know that. That point gets made all the time. I think the point when they never let us make the point. So why do you want David Moyes out? You never properly gets answered. You don't get the amount of time that they get on the radio or on TV to make the point. And then if anybody does manage to sort of breach the fortress, then they get cut off. And you don't ever get to say what is wrong. And just they're very, very interesting. As I say, I think they are pampered, pathetic.
Their comeback is something you're not disputing as well. So the comeback will be, yeah, but the results are really good. Yeah, no, I'm not claiming they're not good. I accept that. That is within my argument. Anyway, people would say the results have been good. However, I'm not happy because of X, Y, Z. But the comeback will be, yeah, but you're 6. What do you expect? Well, I know we're 6. I don't have an issue with the results. My complaints regarding David Moyes, I have not listed. I know Brian's saying he wants to dream for top 4. That's like, I get it. But my opinion here is that if the new manager came along and could replicate David Moyes' results, I'd be happy with that. It's just I'd like the football to be greater as well. I don't have an issue with the points on the board at this stage and the fact that we're still in European football, and for now we're still in the FA Cup. It's good. It's just I don't enjoy his brand of football. But like I said, the counter argument from the pundits would be, what do you expect? You're 6th in the league.
Well, no, that's it, and they won't come back on the stadium.
I don't have a problem with being 6th in the league. I'm happy with being 6th in the league. Nobody's disputing that. I've seen very few people dispute that. Like Brian said, I have ambition to go further, but nowhere in Brian's email did he say we should be 4th in the league. But Aston Villa are showing you that it can be done. You can get into that top 4. But yeah, patronising pundits. Thank you, Brian.
Patronising pundits, yeah, Brian. That's all I would say. Just final words is. He's done it before, Shearer, with Allardyce, when we were clamouring for Allardyce to get out. At
the worst thing is, right?
Well, hold on. He wanted, at the same time, he was saying, be careful what you wish for. But at the same time, he was complaining about Pardew at Newcastle. We've got completely double standards. Sorry, mate.
I was just going to say, his club at the minute, fans are dreaming, and so they should.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just don't get it.
No, yeah, mate. Listen, Brian, we really appreciate that, mate. I feel like it's cathartic. I've got a lot off of my chest. Right. Well, anyway, if you've got anything else you'd like us to discuss, I guess the comment section below is as good a place as any. Aside from that, I'm imagining we'll be back tomorrow with something a little less feisty.